Hi loves, this is Aldea and today I'm gonna give you my review of the Cosmic Cove palette by Fenty Cosmetica. She looks like this, very colorful palette. I'm giving you swatches here. So I did purchase this palette on Monolith. It's still available if I'm not mistaken. I want to give you several looks. I think I did 5. I think. So I'm just gonna let you see all of the looks with my voiceover, and then I'm gonna give you my full review at the end. Okay, so let's start this review with the beautiful, colorful Cosmic Cove palette. So for this first look, I'm starting with the shade Gloom, and I'm going to put it on the inner half of my crease. Like, I want to create, you know, this shade in between my nose and my brow. Well, you know what I'm doing. I'm trying to accentuate the shape here, and I've been really liking to do this type of shape lately, and yeah, I think it really adds something fun to the look. And I immediately knew that I wanted to use the shade Gloom and pair it with the shade Siren, which I'm picking up here on my E01, and I'm really putting it just below it, and I really love the contrast between both of these shades. I really think it looks very nice, very bright, and yeah, I'm really happy with that choice. Formula wise, it's working perfectly. I have nothing bad to say about it. And I'm just putting the shade Siren on the middle part of my lower lash line. I'm taking again Gloom on a pencil brush, and I'm putting it on the outer part of my lower lash line, and I'm also expanding it to create a sort of a wing, but only on the lower lash line. I rarely ever do wings on my upper lash line because of the fold of my lid. I cannot do a straight line, but I wanted to try it on the lower lash line. Then I'm taking the shade Flare, and this is going to be the main color, the main matte color on my lid. And I'm going little by little. I don't want to, you know, go overboard, and it's working really well. As you can probably tell, the shade is not too pigmented to the point that you cannot control it. This is the case for almost all of the mattes in the palette, which I actually really enjoyed because it makes it way easier to use. Then I'm taking the shade Goggler, and this one is going in the inner corner and in the inner third of my lower lash line, and I'm also putting it to blend the edges of Flare, sorry. Not that it was needed, but I really enjoyed adding this pastel, you know, vibe to the look. And then I'm taking the shade Ether or Ether. I'm sorry, I'm not entirely sure of how you're supposed to pronounce it. I'm pretty sure it's Ether. And it's going to be the darkening up shade. I don't want to put too much, which is why I'm really going little by little. I don't put a lot on my brush. You will see in the next look that I will put more on my brush, and I have no problem of adding more. But yeah, now I'm just going really lightly because I still want Flare to be the main color. I'm just filling the sort of blank space between my upper and lower lash line with the shade Flare on a liner brush. And yeah, I just wanted to actually do a sort of wing, which I never do, but I thought it looks quite nice. I'm just blending the edges with Goggler, I think, yes. And I will eventually cover it with a shimmer later. So this is what the look looks like with only the mattes, and I still wanted to show you before adding the shimmers because I actually thought it was quite nice and fun. And after adding my MAC Prep and Prime, I'm trying to figure out which shimmer I want to use because I haven't swatched the palette yet. This one is Rift. It's the darkest shimmer in the palette, and here is actually the lightest shimmer in the palette, which is called Weird. I'm really debating. I'm now swatching Magma, which looks very red in the pen, but as you can see it looks a little bit more pinky orangey on the finger. And then the shade Lazurite, I don't know, I didn't check. So first I'm taking the shade Rift and applying it pretty much on the areas where I did put the blue one, the Ether shade. And the formula is really thin and reflective and beautiful. I have nothing bad to say about the formula. It's working really well. I just want to not to put too much because as I said, I don't want the blue parts to take over too much. And I'm blending on the edges as well. And I don't want, you know, to go over the sort of liner that I did with Flaya. So I'm careful about that too. And then I'm taking the shade Lazurite or Lazurite. I'm sorry, I should have checked. And yeah, I maybe did put too much on my brush. It's going to be okay, I promise. As you can tell, the shade Lazurite to me looks almost blue in the pen, but as you can see on the lid, it doesn't look blue at all. Well, not with the pink underneath at least. And yeah, it's still a very beautiful formula. It's thin, it's blending itself like so easily, and with the Rift shade, but also on the edges, which I'm doing now because I don't really want to put shimmer on top of the Siren shade. And yeah, as it is quite thin, I can also easily put it on the edges and it looks very beautiful. But when I take a more flat brush, as I'm doing now, you can really see that it gets more intense. And this is the shimmer that I chose to cover the Flare shade as a liner. And I'm just putting a little bit on the lower lash line as well. So several uses of that shimmer, and I guess you can tell that it really transformed depending on the matte that is underneath. And then I'm taking the shade Weird, which I could not resist. I'm sorry, but yeah, this shade, I don't think I used it in all of the looks, but I really had to, you know, stop myself to do so because it's so beautiful. And yeah, it's like a very electric iridescent blue. It's so good. So it went into my inner corner, a tiny bit on my lower lash line, and I'm just dabbing a tiny bit on the Siren shade as well. And I thought that it would look perfect as a highlighter, which I'm doing now, and I was right. It looks very, very nice as a highlighter, which I'm really happy about. I don't really often use the same highlighter as I did eyeshadow. Like, I don't really often use eyeshadow as highlighter. But in this case, I thought it was so perfect. And this is the final look. I did something quite simple with the lips because I did not want to take over, and yeah, I love it. This is the look after a few hours, because I did my look, I think it was like 5 or 6 in the evening. I did not have any more time to do my makeup earlier that day, and this is after my dance class, so it's something like 9 p.m. maybe. So I didn't really wear the makeup for a whole day, but you know, I still did wear it and sweat. I don't know. I did sweat in it, and it looks like, it almost looks the same as when I left. As you can tell, it usually creases a tiny bit more on my right eye than on my left eye. So here my left eye is still perfect, and my right eye did crease a tiny bit, tiniest bit. I hope you will be able to tell. Yeah, I think here you can see the little line, and I only needed to dab on it like a few times, and it really went back to normal as nothing had happened, which I always love when a shadow can come back to the way it was before it moved. Many shadows don't do that, so that's very good, and the highlighter is still on point as well. Then for our second look, I'm starting with the shade Ether, and here it's going to be pretty much the main matte on my eyes, and I'm going a little by little because I don't want to put too much, and as you saw, I guess, I hope, in the first look, the formula is pretty much the same, meaning that it's pigmented, but it's not to the point of being not controllable, because sometimes there are, you know, mattes that are so pigmented that when you put it on, it's like there is no coming back. And this one is really pigmented yet buildable, and you don't get, you know, overboard. And yeah, I really enjoyed playing with these. Then I took the shade Siren on a fluffy brush, and I go very lightly on the edges. I just, you know, want to create that sort of halo around the Ether shade. Here I was just taking away a tiny bit of fallout that I had from the Ether shade, and I think that the Siren shade around the ether one looks very beautiful and kind of summery in a way, with all of these blues. Like I think it looks so good. Yeah, I really enjoyed that. I'm just going a little bit back and forth as per usual with many brushes and shades until I'm happy with the blend and with the intensity. And then I'm taking the shade Ooze, which this shade, this really is the type of shade that I love, and I think it looks so good with these blues, and it's going in my inner corner, and I'm dragging it a little bit on my lower lash line, going back a little bit into the shade Siren until I'm happy with the blend and with the overall look, which you will see me do that very often. And same thing, going a little bit back into Ether until I'm happy with the intensity overall. This is how it looks like all matte. And then I applied my MAC Prep and Prime, and I'm taking the shade Fungi, which looks very yellow in the pen. And as I'm applying it, it's still yellow. It has a beautiful, almost white, shimmery vibe in it. It looks so beautiful. Then I chose to add the shade Rift on the outer part, but just a little bit. As you can see, I'm always putting the shade with one finger and then blending it with the other shimmer, because I don't want the blue to, you know, take too much. And then I'm taking the shade Weird, and this is going on my lower lash line. And yeah, I think I think it all looks so beautiful. The look is not finished, but you will see. And I'm just applying a little bit more Weird here and there because I could not stop adding more, and I think this shade is so beautiful, and it's such the perfect iridescent shade to have chosen to put in that palette. It's so nice. Yeah, I really enjoy that one. Then after doing the rest of my face, this is the look, and I love it so much. Like, I think it's so bright and impactful, and it was very easy to do. The yellow, the funky shade, it looks yellow in certain angles and green in other angles. I really enjoy that. This is the look in the middle of the day. It's somewhere between 1 and 2 p.m. And well, it did not move on my left eye, and on my right eye the tiniest bit on the usual wrinkles on my lid, and I just tap it a little bit, and that's it. It came back to normal. This is the end of the day. This was a very rough afternoon. It was a crazy work day, and I'm so exhausted here. But I'm really proud to say that my makeup still holds for the whole day. This it must be something like 1/4 or 1/2 past 8 p.m., something like this. And as you can see, my makeup is still looking so good, even though I was wearing it since 7:30 a.m. or maybe 8 a.m. So yeah, I'm really happy about that, and I can't believe that it did not move, knowing the day that I had. And you can see that the rest of my face is quite oily and or sweaty, and yeah, the fact that the eye makeup stayed that well it's so nice. Like, I'm really so happy and impressed at the same time that it did, and yeah, it brightened my my evening. I just wanted to show you, this is when I went to bed, so it's something like 11 p.m., something like that, and I really wanted to show you again because it did not move. Like, it still looks so good, and yeah, wanted to share that. For our third look, I'm starting with the shade Gloom, and this time I'm putting a little bit more because I actually want this shade to be the main shade on my lid, not the main color. I can't really say that grey is a color, but I'm really putting it almost all over, and it's going a little bit higher in my crease, as you can tell, a little bit on my lower lash line, even though I think I'm going to take another brush for the lower lash line later. And I'm, sort of dragging it away from my eye to give it a sort of lifted effect on the outer part. And when I'm happy with the blend and the intensity, I'm taking the shade Goggler, and this is going on the edges of the Gloom shade. I immediately knew that I wanted to do something with the grey almost all over and then another light shade around it, and I really had to force myself not to use the shade Ooze, the very light green, because I did use it in the previous look, and I really loved the blue ones too, but as I did blue and green the day before, I thought, yeah, I'm going with the pink. And I'm so glad I did, because I don't wear pink that often, And well, the last time that I did wear pink, I really enjoyed the looks that came out of it. So here is no exception. I really enjoy pairing these together, and I think it looks very good. And you haven't seen the finished look, but yeah, I really loved it. And as for the rest of the shade, these behave perfectly. I have nothing but to say about them. I did apply a tiny bit of my MAC Prep and Prime, and I went into the shade Magma. As I said, it looks, well, quite red pink in the pen, and when I applied it, it looks almost like more orange, but actually I ended up still loving that. I just want you to know that as with multichromes regularly, it's like swatch it before you put it on, because it does not always look the same in the pen than on the eyes. I'm just adding a little bit more of Googler and Gloom, on the edges, because I don't want to lose their intensity, and a tiny bit of Magma on the inner third of my lower lash line. Then on a sort of, liner flat brush, I take the shade Gloom, and I'm going to do a sort of liner effect on the inner part of my eye, because, like, as I said, I rarely ever do liners on the outer part because of the fold of my eye, but I don't have that problem in the inner part. And yeah, I really thought that this shade was the perfect one to do so. And yeah, I really enjoyed doing that. I applied a little bit of my Sephora wet charcoal eyeliner, and I'm just playing a little bit with Googler to put on the edges as well. And now I think like something is missing. I'm asking myself, like, do I put ooze or do I put anything else? And then I decided I want to put weird again. And let me tell you, I did not regret that choice. So I'm going a little by little, just under the line that I did with Gloom. And I'm keeping it quite sharp next to the Gloom shade, but I'm blending it underneath. I hope I'm making sense. Well, you're seeing what I'm doing. And yeah, I'm really happy with that choice, because I think that the contrast between the electric blue of Weird and the dark grey and the orangey pink, it's, yeah, I think it looks very, very nice, and I really enjoy the placement as well. And I don't do that very often, but I will also put some on the brow bone, because it's very thin. It looks very good, I think, and this is the final look. And I guess you can tell that I'm really into it. I loved it. Like, it's not colors that I would usually pair, but in this case it worked out so well, I think. The highlighter that I'm wearing is not Weird. It's Specter from Unearthly, and it was a perfect choice in my opinion. Same thing, I kept it quite grey on my lips. Everything will be listed in the description box, as I usually do. But for those of you who don't want to read, I'm wearing the Doom lip liner from Unearthly and the Dread gloss from Unearthly as well. And yeah, I thought it was so perfect. I felt so cool wearing that makeup. And actually, I think you loved it too, because I posted it on Instagram already, and it's one of my most liked posts. So yeah, thank you for that. Then this is 2 hours later. I did my makeup quite late in the day, so I'm sorry. I did not have time to put it earlier. This is what it looks like. As you can see, it did not move at all, and I'm really happy about that. And then this is even later, it must be like just before I go to bed. So maybe I only wore that makeup for like 5 hours, something like this, I guess. But I still wanted to show you how it looked because, you know, some shimmers do crease after 2 hours, but in this case it did not, which is really nice. A little close-up for you. I'm going to, show you with my eyes closed. So the left eye is, well, really perfect, like nothing did move at all, and I hope you can tell. And on my right eye, as per usual, there is a tiny bit of creasing on the inner part of my eye, well, where there are some, you know, tiny wrinkles on my lid. But I could just tap on it a little bit as I'm doing now, and you will be able to see then that it really came back to how it was, like it's perfect, as if it never creased. So that's perfect, always love that. For our fourth look, I'm really in a rush, like I'm going to do something in about 5 minutes. I'm waiting for guests, and actually they did arrive before I got the chance to finish the makeup. So here I am putting the shade Wisp, which is a beautiful periwinkle, and I was so surprised even that I did not use this shade before, because I love periwinkles. I do have one in my Spring BYOP that I use all the time. But in this one, it was the last shade that I did not use. So I did put it on half of my lid, and on the other half I'm putting Gloom. And as you can tell, I'm really rushing into this. So it's not going to be the blend of the century, but it still works beautifully in my opinion for how quick I was doing it. So you can see it does blend. It doesn't take a lot of time. It's not perfect, of course, but like here I did add quite a lot, but did not blend right, and you can see it when I close my eye, but it's because I didn't do it right. Like, it's not the shadow's fault. I'm putting a tiny bit of Gloom on my lower lash line as well, and when I'm overall happy with the results, I'm putting the shade Lazarette on my lid, which I did without putting any primer between the matte and the shimmer. I always do that, but there I was such in a rush that I thought like, okay, it did stay really well, so I'm not going to, like, I don't have time. We are going to see what happens. And you will see what happened. And I did put the shade Fungi on the inner half of my lower lash line and in the inner corner. I think that for the time that I had, the look is still pretty cute. Then this is the end of the day, so it's about 10 hours later. I'm sorry I did not have time to give you an update. You can see that I did sweat, that the makeup on my face is almost gone, the makeup of my lips is totally gone, and it did crease quite a lot. I saw that in the afternoon, and like it did, you know, that thing where inside the crease you have there like a bunch of eyeshadow, and I did tap on it like I'm doing now, and it went back almost to normal, like it went back really beautifully. And then I went on with my day. I did not have time to check myself in the mirror again, and here we are. So it did again, but same thing. As you can see, you can really tap on it and it goes back, beautifully. So of course here we are talking about a makeup that I'm wearing since about 10 hours. So even though it's not perfect, you can see a little bit of delimitation on here, but I think it's still really good considering the amount of time that I was wearing it. So just so you know, wear some primer with it as the brand suggests, because yeah, otherwise it will probably crease. For our last look, I'm taking the shade Flaya, and well, you already know this look because this is the one that I'm wearing in the intro. And what I had in mind was a halo with the shade Flaya and the shade Ooze. And if you already know me, you will not be surprised with that one, because purple and green is probably my favorite combo, as many others, I'm sure. And I was actually kind of surprised that I did not do this combo before with this palette, but I really thought I cannot do a review of this palette without doing a purple and green combo. So here you have it. I'm expanding the shape a little bit, and then putting it on my lower lash line as well. And then I'm taking the shade Ooze in the middle part. As you can tell, when I'm doing halo eyes, I'm not doing something too straight, like vertical. I'm doing it a little bit, biased. I hope it's the right word. And it's going very beautifully. And then I'm putting the shade Ooze on the inner half of my lower lash line, because I want it to, have a logical placement to follow what I did on the upper lash line. And then I'm taking a little bit of the shade Goggler to blend on the edges, because I want to add to this contrast, to really have a sort of pastel vibe, even though it's not really pastel. Well, I guess the shade Goggler could be considered a pastel. I guess Ooze as well. Or is it a neon? I'm not really sure to really understand the difference, but then I took the shade Gloom because I wanted to intensify the halo eye even more, and I actually hesitated between Gloom and Ether, and I chose Gloom because I did not want to lose the pinky purple vibe of the shade Flaya, and I'm really glad that I chose that one, because yeah, I think that if I did add the blue, the vibe would be quite different, and I'm happy that I did it with Gloom. And I'm also adding a tiny bit on my inner, on the inner part of my lid, on the upper, and then you will see me do that on the lower lash line, and it's blending really beautifully. Actually, I'm really happy with that. Doing the same thing that I did on the upper lash line on the lower lash line, and going little by little. I don't want to do anything too harsh. I want everything to be blended right. And when I do it on the inner part of my lower lash line, I'm really putting a little bit. I don't want this to, drag down my eye. And this is what it looks like, almost done. And then with the rest of my face, I decided actually that I did not want any shimmer to be put on top of that, because I love that so much. So I did take the shade Fungi, and it's going on my inner corner and on the inner lower lash line. And I hope you can tell that in the inner part, in the inner corner, it really looks yellow, but on top of the Ooze shade and the Gloom shade, it really looks more green, which I really love. And I'm just taking a little bit of Magma, and I put it a little bit more, going up on the edges of the shade Flaya, and I really love that. So this is the final look, and it's very, very, very rare that I do all matte looks, but I thought that this one could not be better with any shimmers, so I'm so glad that I did leave it like that, and I think it looks so good, the contrast and everything. I love it. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed the looks that I did. I really tried to mix and match all of the colors as much as possible. It was such a fun palette to work with because I'm not, well, I'm used to wear colorful looks, but not that colorful, you know. And yeah, here you really don't have any neutral options. And sometimes, you know, when I do my reviews, if there is a neutral option, I like to show it to, you know, show that some palettes are not that scary, you know. This one, you don't have any neutral option. You have this gray, but that's pretty much it. But otherwise, it's only colors, and it's so fun. It really made me come out of my comfort zone because I'm not used to that much color, and this color in particular, and this is pretty much the reason that, sorry, the mirror. That's a big reason of why I decided to buy this one, because I know I really enjoy Fenty Cosmetica's formula, the matte and the shimmers, but the color story is really what drew me in on this one. And yeah, I was right. I had a blast. I think that all the looks are so fun. I really enjoyed them, and I'm gonna go step by step. First, the color story. A lot of colors, but as you could see, I hope in the looks, you could still do sort of monochromatic look. I don't really like to do that, so I didn't really do that, but you can stay into the more pink tones, you can stay into the more blue tones. I used this yellow on top of some greens, and it really looked like a green shimmer. Like the second look that I did, I loved that one so much. And yeah, I really did. This one, it really looks almost red in the pan, but it really goes from a orangey gold to a rose gold, a peach, a pink. It's really nice. I don't have, yeah. I really had a blast. It goes to very dark to very light. This one being the darkest color. This one is dark too, not as dark. As you can see today, I used that one and that one, so it still goes pretty dark. I was afraid that only having the blue option as a very dark option wouldn't be enough for me, but with the looks, well, with the look that I did today, I'm fine with how deep this is. So very glad about that. You have some more mid-tone options. Well, if depending on how you mix colors, you can go deeper, of course, but I consider this one to be more of a mid-tone, and I guess this one too. And then you have more lighter options. Of course, this one, and both of these are not as light as this one, but I really used them to, you know, blend the edges, and I thought it looked so beautiful. The shimmers, pretty much the same thing. This one is the darker one, and then I guess these two are pretty much the same depth. This one is lighter, this one is a perfect iridescent blue, like it's so good. I really enjoyed mixing all of these together because it really, you know, made me mix colors that I wouldn't normally mix, and having so much color, like it was, I loved it. I'm sorry, I'm kind of repeating what I said earlier, but you can really go with the blues with the greens, the blues with the pinks with the greens, as I did today. You can, I really love the fact that this is a gray, because I really enjoy having a gray as a almost the main color on your lid, and then a pop of neon or pastel, and this is just perfect to do so. I kind of did that with my third look, but I added this shimmer in the middle, but I really enjoyed having this one almost all over the lid and just the pink on the edges. And I really wanted to do this with the light green, but I already used it like the day before, so I didn't want to repeat myself. But I loved that look nonetheless. So yeah, all of these are so fun together. The shimmers really transform depending on what's underneath, especially this yellow, I thought, because I did put it on top of a gray at one moment. Here you can see it kind of when I did put it, because just here under my eye I have a tiny bit of gray, and when I put the yellow on top of it, it really looks like a green, and when you see my inner corner, it looks like a yellow. Wow, I'm sorry, this is the end of the day for me. I hope you can't tell too much. I hope I will make sense. But I love having several inner corner options, and you have plenty of inner corner options. Love that. I was even not subscribed, surprised. I think I'm gonna do that several times in this video. I was actually surprised that I did not use this one earlier, but I only used it in like my fourth look, I think. Maybe it's even the only time that I did use it, but I love a color like this. What is this called? Because I have one of these colors in my spring BYOP and I use it all the time. Maybe it's a bit lighter, but I love it. Then for the formula, I really enjoy Fenty Cosmetica's matte formula. It's pigmented, still really easy to blend. You can really build it, and you can really put some on top of each other and it will not be a problem. But it's not like too pigmented to the point that you are really getting lost, you know. Sometimes there are some brands when you put it on and you're like, oh, that's too much, and you know you will not be able to, you know, take it away. This one you can really build, and it doesn't take that much time. I thought it was perfect. Actually, for my fourth look, I was late, as I really often am. And I really did my makeup in less than 5 minutes. Well, you saw it. And it was not my favorite look, okay, but I still managed to do a kind of pretty look, I think, with this palette. So it means that it's still, you know, workable even if you don't have like 2 hours to get ready. And I always think that's important, because I do my makeup in the morning to go to work. I am just coming back from work here. This is very rare that I only do my makeup and don't spend the day with it. Like, I think that the first look and the third look I didn't go out after, and it was on my days off, so it was kind of late in the day. But still, if I could have, I would have seen people. Well, that's a lie. The first look I did see people because I had dance class then, but whatever. So yeah, I think it's important to have a formula that don't take too much time to use, because like people want to wear their makeup and I'm putting my makeup to go to work, so I will not get up at 6 a.m. to do my makeup. Like, no, I need to be able to do it in around 30 minutes, and I was very much able to do it with that palette. So I'm really glad about that. For the lasting power of the shimmers, well, first of all, the formula of the shimmers, all of them are so beautiful. You don't have any, you know, squishy or flaky shades. Like, all of them are so beautifully smooth. Like, I really love this. Well, the iridescent is not the smoothest. Like, you can take a little bit of particles, but they smooth out very easily. I really did not put a lot on my finger. I can put a little bit more. You won't be able to tell the particles though, I think. Maybe you will. Can you tell? Well, as it is a blue iridescent, I don't think my camera will be able to tell you, but it really smooths very beautifully. And about their lasting powers, as I said, I think these were very, very okay. This one I did put, you know, in the outer part here. It did crease a bit after my work day, but it was okay and I could tap on it and it went back to normal. This one, when I did put it on this part, it almost did not move at the end of the day. You could see in the video it like in a tiny bit here, but you couldn't really tell, so I'm so glad about that. This one, well, both of these I used in the first look and nothing moved. Well, I did my makeup quite late in the day, so I only wore my makeup for like 5 or 6 hours, but I did go to my dance class, as I said, and I really was, you know, sweaty after it, so it did not move. And not the last look, the one before the last, is it second to last? I did use this one all over my lid, but I did not use any primer on my lid between the mattes and the shimmers because I was so in the rush, and it did crease. But when I saw that it did crease, I tapped on it and it went back to normal. Like, you could not tell that it did move. It was so easy to put back on. I did not film that part, and then at the end of the day I did it again and you could really tell that it did you know, go into the line, and I did dab it again and it worked again. It was not perfect, but it was still very beautiful, and I always give credit to, you know, shimmers that can go back to normal after they do crease. And this one I did not use on the whole lid, but yeah, I'm thinking about it now. And of course today I'm not wearing any shimmers, which is very, very, very rare. Like, I never do that, but I did the look and I was like, huh, it looks so good just like this, so I'm gonna leave it like this. I only have a little bit of shimmer in the inner corner and just going a little bit up here, but that's it, and it did not move at all. So yeah, I'm really, really happy about this one. I don't remember for my, well, yeah, for my fourth look, no, my third look, I did it quite late. And did it crease? Well, you know if it did because I did show it in the video. So yeah, I'm so glad I decided to pick this one. If I'm not mistaken, Fenty Cosmetica's palettes are always magnetic, but let me check. Well, yes, they are, but there is nothing on the back, so if you want to depot them, I really encourage you to, you know, put a sticker on it to remember where it comes from. So yeah, congratulations to Fenty Cosmetica and to MULTICHROMATICA for this beautiful palette. It's like, even the artwork, I had a card that came with it, and it's so fun. And as always, the packaging with Fenty Cosmetica is so good. You get beautiful shades, beautiful formula, you can depot them, so it's really fun. Like, I think that this is a palette that I really go back to do BYOPs, because these are very fun shades, and I really did not expect to love this one as much, because it was quite scary, but you know, that's what I wanted. I wanted to get out of my comfort zone, and I really did, and I loved every second of it. So yeah, another big love. I'm really trying palettes at the moment that I'm really in love with, and yeah, I'm really having a blast. Did you pick this palette? Are you planning on it? I hope I was helpful if you watched this video to decide. Thank you so very much for watching. Hopefully I will see you in my next video. Bye.